Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled April meeting of the West Rockville Township Supervisors. First item on the agenda, call to order, Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You let me take this. Yeah. Thank you. Now we're going to skip ahead briefly to number 2.
Okay, thank you all for coming. I would like to say thank you to all the parents that brought their kids out to the annual Kids Fishing Derby on Saturday. It was a huge success. We have 3 winners that caught the biggest fish, and I would like to ask them to come up front here so that we may take a picture with them. The first one is Riley Taylor, 12 years old. She caught an 18.5-inch fish. And then the next one is Jacob Grossback, 10 years old. He caught a 19.25-inch fish. And then there is Tommy Keys, who caught the giant Godzilla, 22-inch rainbow, 6 years old. Okay, so face the camera, please. Come back here. Usually on this side. I want you to come back a little bit more. Like this. Go right ahead. It's all good.
I will.
Thank you, guys. They are the proud owners of nice new $50 bills. Thank you again. I really appreciate everyone's efforts that showed up and helped out and participated in the fishing derby, as well as the great sponsors we have in this event that we put on every year. So thank you. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, getting back to our regular agenda. We have public comment on any of the public comment on agenda items. If you'll stand to be raised, you got to go to the podium for the, yep, our microphones are a little bit unsensitive, so you want to be at the podium if you want to be heard. I'll record you.
Yeah, just some housekeeping. I believe the Conservation Committee should not be on a consent agenda because we're giving a report.
Okay,
That's a typo because you are under also the
Yeah.
committee reports.
And instead of me, Vanessa Power will be giving the report tonight.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Can I walk all the way back now?
Yes. Get your steps in. Do we have any other public comment on any of the agenda items? Please come up, name and address if you will.
Monica Riley, 917 Cat Hill Road, Sellersville. I just wanted to make a comment on something from the Planning Commission meeting last week. Chris Durstein, I believe it was, that had mentioned about raising, that he was approached by a couple people on the zoning board about raising the height on the buildings. And I think Steve might have even said it's like kind of unusual to be like only 35 feet, them needing more. I was just curious how much more they were actually thinking of raising, and if we're really trying to encourage warehouses to move into this area by raising the roof. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on agenda items? Going once, going twice. Okay, up to number 3, the consent agenda. Mr. Lippincott.
On the consent agenda, you have the March 20th, 24 meeting minutes, the wind plan review, actions on plans about to expire, emergency services report, building and zoning report, public works report, the conservation committee report, which is down at the lower part, and the treasurer's report and payments of bills. I will go over the payment of bills. The treasurer's report, the general fund, $929,512.95. Highway aid, $17,381.66. Open space, $1,338,797.22. The park fund, $99,432.41. The equipment fund, $16,533.54. Highway capital, $139.62. Street light funding, $35,659.40. The reserve funds, general fund reserve, $487,665.06. The ARP fund, $528,204.45. Open space Manderfield, $41,646.58. The sewage maintenance fund, $207,681.86. Stormwater fund, $13,428.75. The escrow funds, $2,498,731.98.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lippincott. Any questions or comments from the other members?
I have none.
I have none. I'll make a motion to accept the orders given.
I do have one, the usual thank you to our volunteer fire departments, Sellersville, Telford, Trumbarsville, Tylersport, and to remind everybody that all of them are doing fundraisers. They all need more volunteers. So we always want to recognize the volunteer fire companies that help support all of us. Take that. We have a motion.
I'll second the motion.
I'll call the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have no confirmed appointments tonight, and we get to committee reports, which goes to the planning commission. Mr. Durstein. Durstein, sorry.
Stein. All right. Planning Commission met last Tuesday night. We had 2 presenters on the agenda. First was Guy Hevner, Inc. They were seeking a lot line adjustment. They own the M&M Stone Quarry property as well as some adjacent property and are hoping to acquire 4.26 acres from the neighboring North American Drager property. No development is currently proposed. The additional property would allow them the opportunity for a secondary access or a utility access from Quarry Road. So it could be assumed that they're going to be developing these properties in the future. Plans were clean. So PC is recommending conditional preliminary final approval. Any questions on that?
I have none.
I have none.
Second presenter was a representative for North Penn Water Authority. They were here to present. They are here tonight to present again. I believe they're on the agenda. So I'll try to be brief. They have plans to install a 12-inch, 12,500 foot long water transmission line running along the east side of Ridge Road from County Line to Almont, going under 309 and connecting to existing water lines in the Sellersville servicing area above the hospital. No new connections are proposed on this line. So they're seeking funding from Penvest, I guess grant money. And that requires a letter from the township stating that there are no conflicts with any of our land use plans or agricultural land use plans. There were a few conflicts. Planning Commission wasn't comfortable signing this letter. We just saw this plan that, this was our first look at the plan. They need this letter signed to get the Penvest by May 8th. So, the time constraint was not something that we were happy about. None of the affected residents along It's 2 point something miles of road. None of the residents were contacted about it. So the project reportedly should last 6 months. The eastbound lane of the ridge would likely be closed for the entirety of construction. And there is a detour proposed that would, if I remember correctly, goes down county line, across state, back up 309, some other little jogs. This raised other questions, having only one lane for 2 point something miles with, bus and emergency vehicle traffic, as well as inconvenience to township residents and anyone who travels Ridge Road on a daily basis. So again, we weren't comfortable signing the letter. They were here to get this letter signed. So we weren't willing to do it. I know they're going to present tonight, so maybe they convince you guys to do it. That's what I have for that. I mean, there's a lot more information there, but they're going to present. So,
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No questions. I didn't make the meeting, but did listen to or did watch the video, so I'm up to date on that. No questions.
Okay, so we did have one old business item regarding Select Properties Augustine Road project. They did not grant an extension on that. The clock is running out. So without that extension, PC voted to recommend denial of that plan.
Just to update the board, we did receive an extension in between the planning commission meeting and tonight's meeting for the
Okay.
109 Augustine Road.
Augustine Road. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then, as mentioned before, I had attended a zoning hearing meeting a few months ago, and I was approached by two of the members of the zoning hearing board about raising the minimum building height in the commercial and industrial zones. But we didn't take any action. I reported it to the planning commission members. We didn't take any action. We're not recommending it or denying it. It's just something that I told these folks that I would report to the planning commission and to you guys. So if you want us to take some action with that, we can. Want to let it go to the wayside, we can do that too. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Chris. I have no questions.
Any questions?
No questions.
I'll make a motion. We accept Chris's report as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Hurst.
Thank you.
And next up, Park and Rec, Mr. Rice.
All right. Park and Rec. Who doesn't love the Park and Rec, right? Park's beautiful. This past Saturday, we had the best turnout ever in our Fishing Derby 13-year history. We had 142 young ladies and young men come out and fish, and they had a blast. I mean, it was a little overcast, but you go fishing. So it was just a wonderful day. Everybody was excited. They had a good time. I mean, pulling fish left and right. I mean, I got a couple big thank yous go out to all the sponsors. There's a list of sponsors on the website. I won't read them, but they're on the website of who donate. Jay Kaiser, who goes out and talks to all the companies around the township to make sure we get the sponsors, so they come in and they donate to us. We had just shy of $4,000 worth of fish in the pond. So about 450 trout that are in there from 12 to 20 plus inches. So it was a great event. It was a beautiful day. And to all the volunteers, the Park and Rec Committee is awesome. I mean, Suzanne knows, she was on the park for 25 years. I mean, we just have a great time, and it was an awesome day. So that's what was a huge success. In 2 weeks, we're actually, it's just a notification that the little Liberty Trail Girl Scouts are having an Arbor Day event. So they're going to be planting 3 trees in cooperation with the Park and Rec at the park. So they're going to be planting for Arbor Day. So show up. It's from 10 a.m. to 1, 2 o'clock, something like that. So show up, stop by. They have Beekeeper and a couple other events and stuff like that. So it's going to be a really cool day. I got a baseball game at like 4 o'clock, so I'll probably be there early so I can, it's baseball. September Fest we got coming up September 29th. Put it on your calendar. It's the last Sunday in September. It's always a great event. We always have a good time. It's going to be better weather this year. And we have Feature Film and Fire coming up October 12th. We have not picked a movie yet, but that is on the agenda for the year. So lots of good stuff. Any questions, gentlemen?
I have none. I just want to make a comment thanking the Park and Rec members for the awesome job that you did. I really appreciate it. I think the whole township appreciates everything that you have done. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Thank you. Hard. Well, I would entertain a motion to accept the Park and Rec report.
So moved.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And next up, Conservation Committee.
Good evening, Vanessa Power with the Conservation Committee. We met last on March 21st, 2024. We really had one big agenda item that we needed to spend some time talking about, and that was our participation at the fishing derby, which unfortunately we weren't able to do. We had plans to have a tent set up. We had purchased some things for it, but with the windy weather and it just wasn't really conducive for us to be there this year, but we are ready for next year. So I know it was a great event. A couple of things we did also talk about at the meeting, acreage ovals. This has been an ongoing topic of ours. David Collingwood has confirmed with Horizon Science that the ovals will be completed and delivered either late April or early May.
We'll have them in May.
We'll have them in May. Okay. So we have 7 total signs for 7 properties. Once they are delivered, members of the committee will make a date to go and hang them. So we finally have a month and a year for that to happen. The other part of it was our preparations for the fishing derby. Michael Schreimeyer should be recognized for researching and procuring a 10 by 10 pop-up canopy, as well as designing a conservation committee banner that will be displayed across it. We're trying to bring a lot more awareness of our committee and how we can help preserve land and conserve land in the township. What else? Karina Rilling is recognized for working on a 36 by 48 inch map of the township preserved properties for display at our booth. It's on a big foam board, so we will now have that for other events so people can see on a map what that looks like. I put together, and I have one that I can pass around for you, a brochure that we are now going to be having available to distribute at different events, just giving people in the community an awareness of what it means to conserve your land, what are the benefits of it, and so forth. We look forward, now that we have all these preparations, to be at upcoming events in the township so that we can continue to promote how we can conserve and preserve our land. Do you have any further questions for me?
I have none.
I have none.
Nice job on the trifold,
Thank you.
Yes.
My pleasure.
on everything, actually.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'll make a motion. We accept the Conservation Committee
Second?
report as presented.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on from our advisory committee reports to our independent commission reports.
Not that I need that thing. Good evening. I have the March 2024 activity report for the Penridge Regional Police Department. The police department responded to 656 calls for service. In the month of March, of those calls, 279 of them were in East Rock Hill Township. The remaining 375 were in West Rock Hill Township, with 2 of those calls assisting our neighboring agencies. The department handled a total of 31 traffic crashes in the month of March. Of those crashes, 15 of them were reportable, 16 of them were non-reportable, with 13 of them occurring in East Rock Hill and 18 in West Rock Hill Township. Our criminal activity, or criminal reports for the month of March, our Group A offenses, we had 14 property crimes, 6 crimes against a person, 5 crimes against society, and our Group B offenses were a big whopping 0. So those reported crimes for the month of March, we had two reports of burglary in East Rock Hill Township, criminal mischief, two drug complaints in East Rock Hill Township, 2 frauds, 4 harassments, 1 sexual assault. West Rock Hill Township, we had 2 reports of DUI crashes, 1 burglary, 1 criminal mischief, 1 disorderly conduct, 1 drug offense, 1 fraud, 3 harassments, 1 threats, and 3 reports of thefts for March. Criminal charges we filed in the month of March were a total of 26, 4 charges of drug possession, 2 charges of drug paraphernalia possession, 6 charges of DUI, 2 violations of a protection from abuse order, 7 charges of sexual assault, 1 charge of disorderly conduct, a charge of public drunkenness, 1 criminal mischief, 1 charge of institutional vandalism, and a charge of harassment. Our other police activities for the month of March, we had 188 traffic details handled, 78 traffic citations were issued, 90 traffic warnings were issued, 12 school checks were conducted, 119 park checks were conducted. Officers attended or participated in 169 hours of training for the month of March. So in 2024 so far, for the first quarter of the year, we've responded to 2,133 calls for service, handled 84 traffic crashes, had a report of 82 offenses, filed a total of 131 criminal charges, and officers have attended or participated in 336 hours of training. And that is the March 2024 activity report for the police department.
Okay, thank you, Chief. I'm not sure whether it's that the weather is getting warmer, but I have noticed more of the cruisers out and about, I see. I'm not sure if it's you guys are just busier or happen to have more people out and you have more places or more traffic and bumps to respond to.
We don't have more officers, that's
I
for
know.
sure, but we,
I know we're
you-
more people around.
the month of March and the month of February were very busy from a criminal investigative perspective, so that could be part of the reason, so.
All right, I've got no questions.
I have no questions. Thanks, Chief.
Nope. I will move for accepting the chief's report. Excuse me.
Second. I'll make a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Excuse me. Next point for the agenda is the Joint Recreation Commission, which I'm vice chair of. I'll be giving the report.
Mr. Sherman. May I speak? As vice chair and in the interest of decorum, I just want to remind those in attendance that the appropriate time to comment on this report is at the end of the meeting where we have set aside for public comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the West Rock Hill Sellersville Joint Recreation Authority, which everybody knows as Holiday House Pool Board, met April 3rd. Really going through quickly because we have a fairly detailed minutes. Our old business, we're discussing, there was years ago a proposal for a sewer easement running from properties on Holiday House Road across to connect to existing sewer lines on the Holiday House property. We're still in discussions with that. We had a lot of people who were out and were curious about what was going on with that. That's still being discussed back and forth. We had a presentation from the Delaware Valley Day Camp who were looking at becoming much more interested and much more involved with Holiday House. So we have had an update on that. They had presented the month prior. So looking at continuing to work with them. We're still looking at the swim badges versus getting a barcode so that we can easily keep track of who's coming in, who's coming out. Also, now that everybody's phone has a barcode reader, you can pull up the name, emergency contact information, etc. a lot quicker. It also might make it easier to keep track of everybody. Are investigating some of the sliding boards and inflatables, somewhat similar to what we have for Septemberfest. They make them that you can actually use with the pool and go sliding down into the pool. We had talked about fixing the water fountain that has already been fixed and has been repaired. So we have a new sort of band-aided with a steel band-aid water fountain. So it's back up and running and effective. We did have note that the Fish Organization has presented a membership that was sponsored by other members to one of the local families that were in need for that. We had a huge turnout for the Celtic Fest, raising about $1,778. So all told, between Dine and Donate, Celtic Fest, our fundraising is up around $5,000, which is a huge amount to do for fundraising, considering this the first year that we've really been pushing on fundraising. So we want to thank all of our fundraisers who have been out there pounding the pavement and picking up the phone. Are working on the updated logo for T-shirts for this year, and we're also having additional fundraisers. We have Dine and Donates coming up at the Ram. We have one coming up at the Perk, and we're also looking at getting sponsorships from local businesses. Haven't had as much of an interest in that, but this is also the first year that we're doing it. When we got to the new business, we're still working on small parties and setting the rules and the rates. We'll have those up and ready by the next meeting, so that we'll have a standardized and much more streamlined way of, okay, if somebody wants to come in and hold the birthday party, how many kids do you need to have? How many are we looking at? If you want to use Holiday House after hours, we can do that as an event space. Or if people just want to come in for their company picnic at Holiday House while it's up and running. Updating pool rules, updating our job descriptions. We're going to be running a farmers market and craft show coming up in the summertime. We also had our work day with a very good turnout. We had to postpone it once because of the rain. By the next time we came out and had a lot of volunteers, a lot of hard work was done. So we had to thank all the volunteers that came out for us. We've been going through the usual purchases and supplies of new ladders, new treads for the ladders, chlorine and pH test kits. So we're in the process of getting everything ready to be open right on time. We are working on repairs, the usual stuff, skimmers and recaulking the pool, acid washing, the stuff that's always in the to-do list for the swimming pool. We've been looking at small projects. So we also, when the volunteers come up, we have new wood chips coming in, looking at upgrading some of the playground equipment, updating the snack stands, getting the volleyball courts up to spec, looking at getting the raised patio fixed. There's a little stone patio by the lifeguard stand that we're working with some volunteers to get rebuilt. We have yard signs available, and we are going to be running up and we are on track to be up and running by Memorial Day. And if anybody wants more publicity, we have yard signs we'd help put out, get the notice out. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments, questions?
I don't have any at this time.
Motion to approve the report is given.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain because I gave it to Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Shermer.
You may have the floor.
Thank you. And not straying too far from the pool, we go to Suzanne Clark, tax collector and former pool manager.
Okay, my monthly report for the month of April so far, I have collected $94,864.39 in annual taxes. For our interim taxes, I've only collected $114.24. And our streetlight tax, $647.40. That's the collections for April. I just want to make sure everyone's aware that I do have extra hours in April for collections. The hours are on my tax bill. You can find it there. And also, I just want to bring to everybody's attention in the newsletter that y'all should just received from the township. I do have a section in there, which hopefully people read. But I do have a website personally for myself for the tax collector site, and I do list any extra hours that I have, anything that's different about the office, I'll put up on that site. So you can always check that anytime you want. You can just jump on that site, and that's linked to the township site too. So whether you're at the township site, it can take you over there, or if you're there, it can take you to the township site. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion. We accept Suzanne's report as presented. Thank you, Suzanne.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And passes. Okay, up to the engineer's report, Mr. Ballard.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item on the engineer's report is the Select Properties Forest Road Annexation Plan. I believe we have representatives here tonight.
Good evening, Greg Edelman here on behalf of Select Properties. We're here this evening for you to consider the, I guess we call it the annexation plan. It's really a lot line adjustment plan. All we're doing here is basically doing a land swap of a little over 2 acres from the Heckler property and the Real Pro Enterprises property. That is basically it. There's no development proposed here. There's no improvements proposed here. This is just a change of the property boundary lines. Steve had issued a review letter earlier this week. I think actually it was yesterday. There's some minor comments there, none of which are of issue at all. The first one was dealing with an open space label that should be removed, which will be removed. It should have been removed in the last revision. There's a waiver request here regarding frontage improvements. Since there's no development being associated with this application, the waiver is to defer that until a later time when a development application would come through the township in your standard procedure. Outside of that, the rest were just administrative comments dealing with deeds of consolidation and transfers, notes, signed seals, etc. And there is an ultimate right-of-way on Forest Road that should be offered for dedication as an easement, which the applicant will agree to. And that's it. There's nothing else to the application, but we're happy to answer any questions you might have this evening.
I have a question for the engineer. Mr. Ball, these 7 discussion points from your April 16th, they've been met?
No, they would be, well, item
Well,
one.
we talked,
But
yeah, you're saying,
they're agreeing to,
exactly, is what I meant.
okay, I'm sorry. I thought you
I'm
meant
sorry.
where they met on the. Yes, he covered all the items. Okay.
Yeah, I just have a little question.
Sure, go ahead, Mary.
The deferral of the roadway improvements,
Yes.
we have to assume that there'll be something that's done with this property other than just letting the lot line adjustment sit there. So, we want to make it clear by a note on the plan that if you're going to transfer to a neighboring property or whatever it is that's done in the future, that there be full improvements over the frontage of this property, even if the full property is not, even if the full property is not part of the future subdivision.
Are you, we're just,
Trying to make that
we're just talking about the Forest Road frontage,
Yeah.
right?
We're just talking about,
I'm sorry, not that.
we're
You're,
talking about the
'cause not all of both properties will be developed.
right,
So we would,
but all of those properties could be required at this point. And which I hate to see happen is to miss out on the opportunity to get the road improvements in the future because you come up with like half of the amount that's available now, and then the township never has another opportunity for the rest of the full front.
well, I would argue the waiver is justified since there's no change in the physical property itself. There's no nexus between what's being presented and the requirements for road frontage. So that's what it says in the waiver request. I understand what
I'm
you're
not
saying.
Suggesting that the waiver wouldn't be granted. I'm talking about the condition under which the waiver is granted. And that's that when the property comes back in, you'd be looking for full road widening or fee in lieu thereof along the full frontage of the properties that are involved with this.
Okay, I mean, we'll have to look at that because I'm thinking about the Heckler property as opposed to the Real Pro Enterprises property. And I'm not sure they would all be developed in the future. And I think that's what you're referring to.
That's exactly what
And,
I'm referring to.
and I'm not sure that's the case. So that's something we'd have to obviously discuss.
Well, that ties into the next thing I'm going to say.
Okay.
Normally what the board does is they authorize me to prepare a resolution.
Right.
They need an extension to be able to do that.
Well, we'll agree to grant the extension. You have my word on the record here. I'm sure we're being recorded.
There's a record.
So I will, well, you never know. We usually bring one. So I'm happy to provide you with that letter. So, And you know me well enough, I wouldn't
do,
say
I
that
do.
on the record.
All right, so we'll work out,
The language of the waiver condition that you're talking about.
right.
I'm
and I
sure we
do
can figure
understand
something
what
out.
you're saying, but
Yeah.
that's exactly what we want to prevent.
Okay, understood. Yeah, I just don't know offhand what that really would entail. So
And I don't either, so I think if we sit down with the plan and look at it, it makes sense.
that's fine.
Can I ask you a question, Greg?
Yes, sir, please.
The amount of footage of road frontage between the two properties, do you know that off the top of your head?
No, I don't. And I don't know if, Brian, do you?
Okay.
No.
It's not important right now.
Yeah.
I'm
And
curious.
that is exactly what I was worried about. I'm
Yeah.
not sure on the other side how much road frontage we're talking about. So that's something we should really look at.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Now you're welcome.
I had no other question.
I have no other questions.
I'm fine.
Okay.
So we're authorizing you to prepare a resolution? Is that how I'm?
You're authorizing me to prepare a resolution, approving a condition upon the receipt of an extension until the time of your next meeting.
Okay.
The implication being that if the extension isn't received, then it would be a letter of denial.
I'd make a motion for that resolution to be prepared.
And I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you very much and
You're welcome.
appreciate your time this evening.
Okay, sorry. Get my
No
notes
problem.
down. So the second item on the agenda was the North Penn Water Authority Transmission Main Project. You heard Mr. Durstein discuss it at the Planning Commission comments, and Dan Preston is here tonight from the authority to give you an overview of the project.
Yes. For those of you who don't know me, correct that. Those of you who don't know me, I'm Dan Preston. I'm with North Penn Water Authority. I've been there for 24 years. I'm in charge of engineering and planning. And we're a community-owned water service provider. For those of you who aren't served by North Penn Water Authority, we serve about 36,000 customers. In Montgomery and Bucks County, about 19 municipalities receive water from us. We're here to serve the community. We're a nonprofit. And so we develop solutions to meet the needs of the community. Now, in hearing the Planning Commission report, I think there's some miscommunication and misunderstanding about the detour and the impacts of that. So I'm going to speak to that, and hopefully it relieves some of your concerns and issues regarding that. But I'm going to read a brief statement, just kind of give an overview of everything so everybody understands that. The project is up there on the board. So I'm here on behalf of North Penn Water Authority, MPWA, to request a letter that is needed for a PennVest application to support federal and state low-interest loan funding for 2.7-mile, 12-inch transmission main project on Ridge Road, and it runs from County Line Road on the lower left-hand corner to Almont Road in West Rock Hill Township. And this is, we're here to request a letter. This is a standard request for a PennVest application and is needed for funding considerations. This is not a new project. This project was first presented publicly to the West Rock Hill Planning Commission 3 years ago to the day in April 2021. So there's nothing new that we're presenting today. It's been presented before. The project was presented for review to the Planning Commission last week by Julie Black, our MPWA engineering supervisor. I was not able to be here. I was in Washington, D.C. For Water Policy Week, talking to legislators about legislation to support the water industry. And so now I come before the Board of Supervisors to review our request and the need for a signed letter. The project is fully permitted and ready for public bidding. We seek to submit our PennVest application next month in May at the township. And the township letter is part of the many documents that must be submitted for this application to be declared complete by PennVest and ready for review. I'm aware that is a quick turnaround, and it's an ask for sure. The nature of the letter, though, was very straightforward. It merely needs to state that the project is consistent with the West Rock Hill Township Land Use Plan, Comprehensive Plan, and all other county and local land use and agricultural preservation that impacts the area. A similar letter has already been requested to the county as well. We've received favorably one review letter back and are awaiting the second one regarding the planning and land use. Any designated municipal official can sign this letter. It doesn't have to be the planning commission, and it can be anyone designated on behalf of the township. Okay, so that's our request to the township. So why are we doing this project? I mean, that's probably a question on a lot of people's minds here tonight. This project is part of our master plan and will connect our Sellersville and West Rock Hill customers to our main system that currently terminates in Tylersport at County Line Road, that lower left-hand corner again. And the major driver is to get high-quality water to our customers in Sellersville and West Rock Hill through this new transmission main. Water quality regulations related to forever chemicals, you may have heard about this in the news, also known as PFAS compounds, are getting more stringent. Just last week when I was in Washington, the EPA passed even more stringent regulations related to that. Fortunately for us, our Forest Park Water Treatment Plant in Chalfont, PA, which is where all this water will be coming from, meets those current and future regulations. So that's a big driver here. So it is necessary for us to convey this water, which is of the highest quality, that will meet current and future regulations so that all of our customers have access to the highest quality at an affordable price, because that's our mission. Highest quality water service at an affordable price. That's why we're nonprofit. So this is why we're doing this project. In addition, the project is part of our plan to improve water service in general and fire flow to the West Rock Hill institutional area to serve existing customers that include the elementary school, Grandview Hospital facilities, Penn Foundation, Hidden Meadows on the Ridge, to name a few. This is the point worth emphasizing. This is a transmission-only project to link the two MPWA water systems and make them part of the same system. The plan does not include new connections off this line. The transmission main will have fire hydrants, which will be a benefit to public safety and the properties that are near the transmission main line. So the project timeline, we expect to bid it out sometime in August and to start construction in October with completion early next year. Actual construction will take about 3 to 4 months depending on weather and digging conditions. There is an approved detour plan in place. The detour will be in effect from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The road will remain open to local traffic, so homeowners have access in and around the detour during the construction time. Truck traffic will need to use the approved detour route, which includes the 309 bypass. The road will be reopened every day to traffic, so the road will only be detoured in the immediate area of construction during that construction time, which has been approved by PennDOT, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So it's not like the road will be closed all the time, only during the actual construction. If it's a rainy day or if there's snow or something like that, the road will be open. So due to the narrow width of the road, keeping a single lane open during construction is not feasible for this type of project. If there was wide shoulders and things like that on Ridge Road, we could probably try to accommodate something like that. But during those hours of construction, the only way to construct that is to close that in that immediate area where we're doing construction. So project communications. As with all of our road projects, communication is important. We're working and we're replacing about 2 miles of main or adding extensions like this, 2 miles of main a year. So we are very experienced in dealing with community impacts in a project like this. So all property owners along the route will be notified at least 30 days in advance prior to the start of construction. Also, fire, police, the school district, as well as any pertinent municipal officials. Now, this is a large project. It's 2.5 miles, 2.7 total. So we will post project information on our website and also provide weekly updates via email to a group list. And anybody in this room who wants to be on that email group list, we'd be happy to add you to that, and we can talk about that later. There will also be information posted on our social media. It's very important, and our goal is to keep everyone informed about what is going on and to minimize the short-term impacts that come with improvements like this, while working on the goal of providing world-class water service and the highest quality to all of our customers in West Rock Hill and Selversville Borough. That includes my prepared statement.
Thank you.
So I'm open to any questions or.
Yeah, I have a question.
Board?
You talked about an approved detour. What about local residents and how do they get to and from their properties during construction if you're blocking off sections of the road? And the same with emergency vehicles.
Well, we typically work out those plans. Now, we are only closing the road where we're constructing. So where we're actually digging, that's where the road needs to be actually closed. In certain emergencies, we can divert construction to allow people to get through. But most of the local residents will find their way around. There's the approved detour plan, but most local residents will come up with their own plan to get around, and we'll make sure everyone's informed exactly where that closure's going to be, where we're at in the construction process. So people are informed and can make decisions on how they want to get around. So that's my answer to your question, sir.
Dan, I have a question for you
Yes,
regarding,
Jay.
you did state that the road was only going to be closed between 9 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that, before that, when people go to work in the morning, it'll be open. There won't be any issues. When they come home after 3, there won't be any issues.
And school buses as well. Yeah, the road
Okay.
will be open, fully open.
Now, I also have a question, because, Ridge Road was just repaved a couple years ago. And of course, I'm very concerned about the road. Will this, after this project's done, will this road be entirely overlaid?
The plan is to do a half road mill and overlay, but honestly, after the construction is done, we will walk the entire route with PennDOT and they will determine, if there's damage to the other side of the road, being that we're not putting in any services, it's just a pipeline. So there's no cross trenches within that route. So, but if the road is damaged to the construction equipment, we will have to restore it.
Okay.
But the immediate plan
PennDOT
is
will
a
be
half
involved in
road.
that. PennDOT will be involved in that, you're saying, right?
We have a PennDOT HOP for the
Okay.
project and for the bore.
Now, the next question I have for you is, you stated twice now that you aren't going to be adding any new services. Or is that line being put in without the capability of doing that? Or could there be new services added in the future?
That would be up to the township. So if we have this similar arrangement with Salford Township, and just recently in this past summer, we've put 3 services in off because the transmission main really extends all the way from Franconia up Allentown Road to Tylersport and County Line Road. And I think it was due to the quarry. There were some people that needed to replace their well and they had access to public water service. So in that case, when we get that request, we immediately contact the township. And if in those isolated cases, we would then, with the township's approval, provide water service. Now, I should point out that since that line's gone in, it hasn't enticed there's been no further development since that line has gone in. So I don't think it's a situation where this would entice development if anyone has that in the back of their mind.
Okay. Now, the next question I have for you is, because there are people that are unclear of why this is needed. You have explained to support West Rock Hill residents. Me having a little bit of knowledge in the water supply here to the township, I think it's important that you let the public know that one of the entities involved would be the Grandview Hospital. This would affect and benefit them in the future. Is that not correct?
Yes, I did mention that it would definitely improve service to the Grandview Hospital facilities. So you have the outpatient center. They currently have their own wells and their own water system, but we would be able to provide them if they choose to provide them with public water if they choose to do that.
Okay, because we have had an issue or issues in the past with water pressure service for those areas in the past. I
Mhm.
know that some of that has been taken care of with your pumping from the
Mhm.
south up. But I think it's important for the citizens to know
Mhm.
what your line is going to do here, that you're running all the way out Ridge Road, because there is no developments from here to Tylersport.
Right. Part of our master plan is to improve the water pressure and flow into that area, and this project is part of that.
Okay. And do you have any plans to go under the 309 at this time?
Yes, that's part of this project. So we extended Main to Almont Road to deal with the water quality issue there with the professional offices there on Almont Road, and they had a bad well. And so we did extend there. So we're going to tie into that on the east side of 309. So we're going to bore under and tie that all in. So we'll have a direct connection and basically make the system one system. Right now, it's separate from our main system.
Right. Okay.
And then we'll be able to then get our Forest Park water in there, which I said meets current and future regulations. And we're one of the few water utilities who can actually say that. So we're really excited to be able to get that water into that area. It's of the highest quality. It's nationally recognized water treatment plant. And we're here to serve the community, and that's what we do.
Yeah. There is one thing I did fail to ask, and that is, will there be fire hydrants replaced
next question.
periodically?
Yes, I did mention, I threw a lot of information at you there, but yeah, there'll be fire hydrants along that transmission main, so the fire company will have access to that. It can certainly enhance public safety and provide fire protection to properties along that route. And being that they're being in proximity to that, they would also be subject to potentially premium reductions in their homeowners insurance
Correct.
because of being near fire
That
hydrant.
was one
Yeah.
of the main reasons I was asking that question. And to follow up on that, will it show on the plan where those fire hydrants would be placed?
It does. I did furnish a complete set of plans
Okay.
to the township, so that is available.
I'm speaking here for the citizens. They don't
Yes.
get to see those plans on a
Yes.
regular basis.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm asking the question,
Yeah,
so that they can understand or be assured that there would be fire hydrants placed throughout this transmission line.
correct.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
I have no other questions.
I
David?
have a couple questions. I read somewhere you said this was shovel ready and I just assumed from that it was fully funded. But yet one of your reasons for coming here tonight, besides explaining what's going on to the residents and to us, is this letter for funding from
Mhm.
Invest.
Yes.
I'm just somewhat concerned about the timing because you were here 3 years ago to talk to the planning commission. And now we're being told that by May 8th, you need this letter. I mean, do you need this funding in order? I thought this was fully funded.
We can fully fund it, but if we can save our ratepayers money, because ultimately it's coming out of the ratepayers' pocket, and if there's funding available, we want to go after that because our job is to keep the water affordable, and this is a $5 million project, so we're not necessarily looking for grants as much as low interest loans. The interest rates are very low in the range of 2%, so we could save as much as $600,000 in interest by taking advantage of Penvest, and that benefit goes right to the ratepayer. So it really helps in our funding to do it that way. So we're taking an opportunity. We learned that there's funding available, so we're going after it, and hopefully we can be successful in that. But like I was mentioning, that involves a lot of paperwork. So a lot of letters, a lot of documentations, just a lot of paper.
Can I ask you one? Well, I would like to make a comment regarding your plan. I understand that your transmission line is only to be holding a half of a lane, but I want to express my concern and serious interest in having the entire road overlaid when this is done. Just due to the fact of what is out there right now and what's going to happen to it when you do your project. So I know that PennDOT's involved, but I want to emphasize from my position, I believe the road should be completely overlaid when this project is complete. Okay.
And I understand, and that determination will definitely be made by PennDOT. They're very protective of their roads, so if we damage it, they will require it, so.
I'm pretty
I'm up-
sure that PennDOT would be okay with it if you said you were going to overlay the whole road.
We'll overlay the whole road if it's necessary. If we damage the road, we do it all the time.
I think what Mr. Kaiser was saying was that every time half of a road is overlaid, it always creates driving inconvenience because it's never as smooth, it's never as consistent as it was when it was fully overlaid. And I think what's happening is the township is asking you to overlay the whole road. And you're saying, I'll do it if PennDOT requires it. But you won't do it if the township asks you to do it.
I think that's a mischaracterization of what I just said.
Okay, then you
okay.
will do it if the township asks you to do it.
We will do it if it's necessary. If the road is,
Well, can I just explain
That's
something?
what
from-
I'm
from My
saying.
experience, because I have a little bit of experience in construction, as you probably know. What I see in my experience is a lot of times when you do a half of a road disturbance and then you pay, you end up in a few years down the road having what they call joint failure. That's the joint that's in the middle there where water gets down in and then it erodes and salt
Mhm,
and it starts to come apart. If you driven up 313 a few years ago before they fixed that,
right.
we had an officer measure 6 to 7 inches down where the joint failed, where the road was eroded in the middle. Okay, that
Mhm.
was between Big Daddy's Wagon Wheel Tavern and the entrance, the upper side of the lake. So this is why this is a huge concern.
Okay,
Why I'm very pro roads in this township, and when we have a
Understood.
disturbance, that road looks beautiful out there right now. When we have a disturbance, I want to make sure that the residents, because that's one of our major thoroughfares.
Understood.
Okay.
And I can tell you, I can show you many examples of where we've done it successfully. And if there's any issue, we'd be the first one to step up and say, let's do a full road mill and overlay. But I'm just hesitant to commit to that now.
We won't make that
If
commitment
the
tonight, though.
construction works,
Dan,
project,
you're not going to make that commitment tonight.
we
I
commit.
have to agree with Mr. Kaiser, one half of the road is aged. It's 2 or 3 years already resurfaced, and now you're going to put a new surface on in a year. Now, which side determines when's the next time that road gets a complete new overlay? If it's all done after the construction of this transmission line, that's the best scenario.
I will commit to working with the townships that they are satisfied with the restoration. I'm hesitant to commit to something that may not be needed. That's all I'm saying. But I will commit to working with the township that they're satisfied with the restoration that does occur and that it's acceptable.
And if we're not,
Then we'll have a conversation about that, what needs to be done.
you're looking at a $5 million project here, right? Over
Yes.
5 million. The overlay of that road is not going to be that much more out of that $5 million, in my opinion. I mean, I know what it does. I know what it takes to overlay a road a mile.
Yeah,
And
Duly noted.
Further to that, if you get the letter you're requesting for Penn Best funding, you're going to save $600,000. That's the road surface right there.
Well, it might be more than that, but
Well, you got to try.
yes, it is a savings. I
I totally understand what you're saying, but I'm also here as a ratepayer and making sure that, we don't, because any cost here ultimately gets passed on to the ratepayer. So I just make sure that we make good decisions now and to commit to seeing until we see how the project goes. And if there's any damage, I guarantee you PennDOT will step right up. And we will too. We will too.
You will, I mean, understand too, you're going to save money by not having to pay other entities for water in other areas right now by putting this transmission line in. So that's something you should think about as well. It's going to benefit North Penn Water Authority in the future, which in the end will benefit their customers as well. So I think that, from my perspective, I want to see the road overlaid completely. I understand what you're saying, and I understand your concerns or your issues. It is a dollars and cents issue. However, I support the project because I understand the need to get water, this complete loop
Mhm.
To the hospital and the businesses down there. But I also understand that from the taxpayer's perspective, they want to have a good road. And that, this Ridge Road, other than the 309 Expressway, this is our major artery through this township.
Understood.
I want you to make sure you
I would be
understand that.
happy to review all the projects that we've done recently and the restoration that was done. We take pride in returning the road back to really good condition, as at least as good as it was before we got there. And many times we can do that without doing the full road mill and overlay. But if it's necessary, we will do it. Okay?
Okay, I do understand.
Okay.
However, we just experienced, and I live on Ridge Road, a sewer line put in out the other end here about a year ago, year and a half, where the project took 3 times longer than it was supposed to take. And they hit solid rock and they had a real tough time and the road got beat up pretty bad. So I want to make sure that the residents thoroughfare that goes through our township, the major thoroughfare.
I'm familiar with the project you're talking about,
you
yes.
do. So
No, I
please
can
understand-
assure you that the outcome will be better, much better here.
I don't discredit that, but
Okay.
from my perspective, the entire road needs to be overlaid. I don't know, Mary, how we go about presenting that or making sure that that happens.
There's a couple of things you can do. The first is you can ask Steve to communicate directly with PennDOT and tell them that that's something the township's really interested in. That might be effective, that might not be effective. The only other real leverage that you have is, like if you're going to support the Penn Vest grant, tie it to the full width overlay.
Okay. Now, there is something else I want to ask you about too, because after last month's meeting, we had a fatality accident out there near Thousand Acre Road. And I had the chief go and look at a couple areas as far as the road breaking off or people getting off the road. I know it's not your responsibility. However, there's some serious shoulder issues out Ridge Road between here and the quarry. If it's possible to tie PennDOT in with this,
Mhm.
I'd like to recommend that we possibly accomplish this issue or this problem while that project's being done, if that's possible.
Working with PennDOT, you're saying?
Yes.
We can certainly make that.
And the shoulder.
We would be a
you're-
willing player
you're
of
digging-
it,
You're
but
digging up the road. You're digging up the road. Of course, everything has to go through PennDOT because it's a PennDOT road. But there's a serious issue. That's not the first vehicle that went off the road there at that spot. So I would like to see the possibility of the shoulder being improved in that area. You're going to be coming right by there when you're digging up.
I
I'm not saying
understand,
it's
but
your-
that goes
your
way
fault.
beyond our jurisdiction, but we can bring PennDOT into that discussion and see if we can get
That's
any
all I'm asking.
progress on it.
That's all I'm asking. I know it's not your responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Dan.
I will
Welcome,
second
Jay.
Mr. Kaiser's concern. I'm on the other side of Ridge Road in this stretch, so one of the things which I've seen plenty of times is simply repaving the road, having one of the triaxles get too close to the end, and then you have a triaxle balanced and tipping because the shoulder has crumbled and you now have a fully loaded triaxle full of hot asphalt just balancing on the side. So I know that the fixing the shoulders is not directly part of your concern, but one of the concerns is when you go to repave that, a lot of times I'm seeing that the trucks just repaving it are chipping away at the edges of the shoulder, and you're seeing the road.
We share your concerns, which is why the pipeline as designed is not in the shoulder.
Right.
It's not a good place.
We understand that. Hey,
Yes.
Cal, I think Mr. Lippincott might have something to add to that.
Yeah, we're in the process of setting up a meeting with PennDOT regarding the shoulders on Ridge Road. Close to setting that date up.
This could potentially, tie into that as well. If we can be helpful in that in any way, we certainly will.
And I truly understand the need for this, and I understand your plan. But from a representative of the taxpayers, I would like to see the road overlaid, but I do support what your concept is, okay?
Okay.
And I also support the idea, and I do understand how important it is that you have the ability to get pressure from the water tower over by Naceville through these lines to get water and pressure up to the upper portions of the hospital, and how that now tied in to the north, to the catch basin for North Penn.
That's the Telford Borough Authority system. That's not our tank.
Yeah.
So
I know you're working on a tank too, but I know this all fits in together with making sure you have sufficient flow. We had that 2 or 3 years ago, that presentation.
yes, you remember. Yes. Hmm.
So what do we do, Mary? Does Dan need to talk to somebody else to allocate or to make sure that the road would get fully overlaid? Or do we say that as a condition by signing the letter?
That's up to you. You
Okay.
can say, like, if he feels he needs to go back and discuss with his board the full overlay of the road, then you could make signing the letter conditioned upon him getting approval from his board for full overlay. You know, the extent to which you want to marry them together, that's a policy decision.
Okay.
Well, we have until May 8th.
Well, that's not going to be before our next,
I understand that.
Yep. Go ahead,
Um,
continue.
I fully think that the road should get completely overlaid if the letter wants to be, if they want the letter from us.
Okay. So, I'd be happy to make a motion to sign that letter if you could get approval to overlay that road.
I'll second that.
I will seek that approval.
All those.
I'm not inclined,
I understand
excuse
that.
me. I can't commit to that
No, but
tonight.
I can commit to this.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion made, seconded. All
Aye.
in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Dan, for your presentation.
And your
Thank
patience.
you.
Thank you,
My
Dan.
pleasure. Thank you.
It's scheduled.
It's
It
scheduled
comes
at
up
the end of the meeting, you'll get public comment.
Would you like me to stick around for that, or? You're all here for me, right? I'll stick around.
Okay,
Okay, the next item
is the boring part.
is the stormwater culvert replacement bids.
Yes.
I believe you have the listing in your packets. We did receive 6, yes. Well, I thought it was 7. 6 bids. We did bid one culvert as the base bid with 7 alternates. Upon review of the bids, the township staff had recommended the alternates that's in the lower listing. So the total project would include Camp Rock Hill Road, Old Mill Road, Holiday House Road, Thousand Acre Road, Tower Road, and Augustine Road. That's one culvert on each of those roads. With the selected alternate, the low bid was $99,600 even by Cousins Inc. I did talk to them about some of their numbers. They committed to me that they're honor their bid and complete the project as bid.
And that includes Mill Road.
Includes Old Mill Road, yes.
That was my major concern.
That was my concern as soon as I.
But you're comfortable that they will be able to handle that pipe
Yes,
and do it in an efficient time? And you'll be overseeing that,
yes, yeah.
okay?
We'll review that question. I have no reason to doubt that they could accomplish it. And they committed to like I said, I've asked them twice.
But they have a good track record. I mean, as far as
We've worked
getting
with them
things
a little
done.
bit on some projects. I haven't worked with them extensively, but they have been around for a while. They provided all the proper documentation and the bid bonds.
Where are they out of?
I don't.
Okay. Cousins Inc. Never heard of them.
Yeah, I think it's 2 partners. We're probably cousins.
Okay. Probably. All right. So we want to move forward with this.
Yeah, we're recommending that you award those selected alternates for the total bid price of $99,600. I will mention, I mean, these are the 6 bids that we received. I checked back on Penn bid. There was dozens of other contractors that downloaded the bid documents, including the normal, regular local contractors. So they just chose not to bid on this project. 6 that chose to bid.
Okay. All right. So,
No, I'll make the motion to go with the Cousins Inc. bid as noted.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And not listed on my report, but just to note, we have the triple net record plans here tonight. So after the meeting, we'll need at least 2 board members to sign.
Okay.
They're not ready to be recorded yet.
No, we need some paperwork to come in. So the township will hold those, but we should have everything before your next meeting.
Okay,
That's all I have unless there's other questions.
I'll make a motion to accept the engineer's report as presented.
I'll second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
And we move along to our solicitor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. There's only one item under the solicitor's report tonight, and that's the authorization to forward the electric sign ordinance to the planning commission. You've been reviewing the draft I prepared. I think you expressed an interest in maybe having the planning commission start their review or start its review.
Mhm.
So you could do that by a motion.
Okay, I will move then to move the electronic side ordinance over to review by the planning commission.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's all I have this evening.
Oh, thank you. And up to the manager's report, Mr. Lippincott.
Thank you,
I'm
Mr.
gonna make a
Chairman.
motion to approve the
That's right.
solicitor's report.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Moving too fast. Yeah, Mr. Lippincott, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only item that I have on the agenda is a traffic light battery backup quote. Over the last several years, we've been slowly installing battery backups on all our traffic lights. You have one for State Road and Bethlehem Pike down by A&T Chevrolet. The total quote from our contractor is $10,570. I just need the board to authorize that quote.
I'll make that motion to authorize that quote.
I will second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, it's expensive, but much less expensive than having somebody run the red light that's not working.
And we have one contractor that does it.
We have one
All of lights,
contractor,
right?
yeah. That's right. I do have one other item. After the agenda was completed, the township did receive the pool market study. With the board's authorization, I would like to put the market study on the website for everyone to read.
I would make that motion. If that's what you need.
Correct, yes.
Yes.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I abstain since I'm on the.
So that'll be published tomorrow then, right?
Tomorrow, I'll have it up by tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
Not first thing in the morning, but yeah, it'll get up there. That's all I have.
I'll entertain a motion for the man to accept the manager's report.
I'll make that motion.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're up to old business. I do not have any.
I have none.
I have none at this time.
Okay, on to new business. Again, I have nothing for new business.
I will share one thing I have on a new business, and I talked to the chief, and I also talked to Greg about a road issue on County Line Road going down the hill towards Ingram's at the bottom there at Barnt Road. The road on the would be the southbound side is laying over a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And I noticed that I had a resident reach out to me as well. So we would like to try to get that addressed. Greg is working with PennDOT to try and get a meeting.
Yeah, I wrote to PennDOT. They sent that down to the traffic division. They're going to get back to me on that.
I see that as a possible issue with trucks, especially if there is trucks that take different detours, or that issue has to be taken care of. We don't want to have any accidents or any problems due to the road conditions where it's coming apart or breaking up. Okay, that's the only thing I have under new business at this time.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't change geology. That's why that's where you go from the hard rock up that's Ingram's Hill to the soft rock, which is why there's always a pothole at the bottom of Ingram's Hill. We've now hit all the soft rock, which is full of water, and it freezes. Anything else?
I have nothing.
Okay, Then closing new business, we go to public comment. And Mr. White.
So, Don White, I'm a little disturbed. The most important part of this presentation about the water line was left out, completely missed. You're going to bore under 309 to put a water line in, and you're also putting a sewer line in, aren't you? That is a huge deal. If that sewer line goes under 309, Almont is now Quakertown. It will explode. And we didn't even talk about it. We're not even going to discuss that matter. That's not even part of this discussion. I'm upset. I bet everybody in this room's upset. We're trying to control development and we're not even going to discuss what's going on there. We're not even going to attempt to stop a sewer line, something that will save the developers up there millions and millions of dollars. Why don't they pay for it? Why is Telford paying for it? Because they're going to make money off the sewer. You know, this is just disturbing to me. I can't believe it was left out completely. The other thing that's disturbing to me is this newsletter that went out, and first 2 pages complimenting our volunteers, which is a great thing. We have great volunteers. However, while the township's complimenting these volunteers, you're still not funding the fire departments. You're underfunding the fire departments that serve West Rock Hill Township. You have $500,000 to spend of Joe Biden's money. I certainly hope you're planning on spending some of it on that. There's been no public discussion about what that money is going to be spent on. Thank you.
Okay, any other public comment? On Mr. Krauthamel?
Yeah, Don Krauthamel with the Joint Rec Authority. I'll be very brief. I had 2 issues that I wanted to talk about, but as a result of Mr. Lippincott's report concerning the marketing study, I'm now down to 1 issue. I'll be happy to see that report. The other issue has to do with the fact that, as you folks well know, for almost a year now, the board, which is supposed to consist of 6 members, has been getting by with 4. Now, it's true that we have a tremendous group of volunteers that are helping to pick up the slack, and they're doing a tremendous job in all kinds of ways, from repairs to fundraising, you name it. But we are still down 2 members that need to be appointed by this township. And there's everybody that we have, everybody on the board, we've got lots of work for them to do. But there is a really specific reason why we need those positions filled. With 4 members on any given meeting night, if 2 people cannot show up for one reason or another, we don't have a quorum, which means that we cannot do business. And especially at this time of year when we're trying to get a pool ready to open, missing 1 monthly meeting is catastrophic for us. The reports you've been hearing for the last couple of months have been very, very detailed. I know, because I wrote them. They're like 3 and 4 pages long. And that's because there's a lot of stuff that has to get done, a lot of decisions that have to be made, a lot of votes that need to be taken. So I am imploring you to appoint 2 new people to the board. We do have volunteers that have already expressed an interest in it. Appointing them costs you nothing. And it will help have a dramatic effect in helping us make for a really successful pool season. Thank you.
I get nervous. I don't talk in a loud group, so excuse me if I. I'm at 729 Ridge Road, where B Enterprises is, that is trying to recover from a fire and get our business back in the building. So how does this water line affect? Is it going all the way down to Lawn Avenue, or is it stopping right before that? Because if you block off the road, we're already fighting to get our business back and get it back in the building. So how is this going to affect us getting traffic into our business to keep a business alive that's been, been struggling for a year and a half now since a fire? So how far is the water line going? Why isn't the water line going all the way down to Festazio's B Enterprise? Because we're still on a well. And to put in a sprinkler system could kill us.
North.
Okay, so it stops at Almont Avenue? Okay, so I guess my next question is then, with you saying the road is going to be closed, how is that going to affect the traffic trying to get to local businesses that have been there for years and years and years?
I mentioned it's only going to be closed in the area of this construction. So being here on the,
We're on the Lawn Avenue end, like right before, we're at Lawn Avenue,
yeah.
right before you go over the bridge to get down into into Sellersville and Percy and the hospital. So there shouldn't be any interruption to our traffic. But I guess that's my question. If they're coming up county line, they're coming in the other way, so we will be interrupted in terms of, because our hours are 10 to 6. So your prime construction is going to be the prime hours that we are Monday through Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that will interrupt our business. Correct?
It could, but if people don't know their way around, there is the detour plan. They can just come up with their 9 bypass and get off at the exit.
I just for a business, like I said, a business trying to struggle from a fire. This is not helping the situation. So that's all I have to say. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Another, I just want to, just want to mention that, come on up, that it's public comment. We don't usually do question and answer. I let that slide because I know everybody's got the same kind of question. But we try to address the board and public comment rather than picking out people and having a question and answer. But you guys can all talk later on when it comes to questions.
So I didn't mean to, when I said earlier, I do think about the questions. I think as people attending these meetings, I think the reason, at least for me, Brian Landis, Augustine Road, sorry guys. I think they feel that their voice means nothing because you guys vote on something, the public comments come at the end, which is kind of after the fact. So for whatever consideration we can apply, be great if we could limit for a minute, whatever it is, but get the comments before you vote. So that I think more people, but I really think a lot of people, for all the things on the table tonight, there should be more people here.
And just so you understand, there was public comment on agenda items.
So when I read that, it's like, do we want to add anything to the agenda? That's the way I read that
Oh,
one.
no,
I'm
that's
sorry.
meant, like, that's your opportunity to.
I just figure it's like, hey, so maybe we should, okay, so your point then is we should say, can we
Water
add
was
it?
on the agenda. See, underneath the
Right.
engineer's report. That's when, in the beginning there should have been questions asked about that.
Okay, well, thank you. So then, good for us to know. Okay.
It's a good point that we should probably change the phrasing to public questions, even though you're supposed to be addressing the board, but that's a good point for.
No, he
Yep.
was talking about when he would have the
yeah, I know.
opportunity, but not that he wanted, because questions, that's a different thing.
Public comment.
Or comments, yeah. Because now so the comments, I understand about the water. I've had some conversations with Grandview Hospital this week, and one of the questions I have, do they have forever chemicals currently in their well water? So I'm on the other side of 309. Okay, because I had my water tested. I don't. So my well water didn't pick up any trace. So I'm on the other side of Grandview. So from better quality, one of my questions is, from a quantification standpoint, what does that really mean? Because the reason the Planning Commission didn't vote on this is because we look at the disturbance to West Rock Hill for the benefit of West Rock Hillians. It was pretty minimal, except for the people in that immediate pocket. So what really does it mean with better water quality? From a Grandview standpoint, for those that don't know, they pull from 2 wells that we all pull from in the area, whatever that, and they put it in that 100,000 gallon water tank. The reason that they then supplement with Sellersville Borough, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you know this, is because of what they call fire suppression. So if there's ever a fire at the rehab center, they need water volume to be able to put that well out or the fire out. They use about 75,000 gallons a day. So this does give them better volume. From what I hear, they don't have a pressure problem. They don't want a tank in their property. I don't think we want one behind the township building here. It would be massive. So to me, that has nothing to do with this immediate project from water quality. I understand I used to be in the chemical business. We sold into water treatment. I'm all about clean water. I just don't think there's been enough consideration given. So I got this off Google. Consideration for a detour should take into consideration alternate routes, existing infrastructure, traffic patterns, and availability of alternate routes. I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's a camera across the street that counts the traffic on this road. On a daily basis, we get 7,392 cars past this building. 672 of those are trucks. And this is all available on the internet. Pennsylvania actually has a traffic counts website. So my concern is from a detour standpoint, they're not going to take the alternate route because I know I won't. I'm going to zip down county line, bang over Cat Hill and go into, so that's going to be
2.5 minutes are up.
Thank you. That was my point. Thanks. Sorry, guys.
Thank you.
Well done.
Any more public?
Okay, three little things.
Name and address for the,
Marianne Wilson, Johanna, 500 Johanna Drive. The other day I stopped, on Forest Road thinking someone needed some help, and she didn't need help. She was looking at a tiny little sign that was posted, not even a sign, a piece of paper that was posted by the solicitors for select properties. It said something about you guys not doing something properly. Can someone address that? Who made the mistake here? Why are they assuming that they can go forward with this project?
It's public comment time. I'll be glad
Okay.
to talk to you about
Okay.
that after the meeting.
Okay, so then I'm also concerned about the sewer line for North Penn. If we were improving the water, and I understand fire and everything, why do we have to put a sewer line in? Why do we have to allow a sewer line to be for under 309 unless we're going to be helping developers on, okay, since I only have 2.5 minutes. And then the detour, those of us that live on up Tower Road, you know people are going to be going county line to Allentown to Ridge Valley, shorter route. Road stinks as it is. How are we going to get off Tower Road? Is there any thought as to putting like big signs, slow down? Because we almost get hit on a weekly basis. And I sit there, I roll down the window and I'm listening for cars. And they're still zooming around that corner. And 2/3 of the cars probably turn left off of Tower Road. And that's just dangerous. So when now we're going to have all these other detour vehicles zooming around. So just a thought. Thank you.
that's a concern.
Bob Hurling, 1307 Ridge Road. I guess, excuse me, everybody knows where I live. I live right on the bend at Lonely Road there. Lost 2 mailboxes in 2 months. Terrible. People on this road, they just don't know how to drive. 2 years ago, I had 3 accidents into my field. So, but anyway, besides all that, which side of the road are they going to run this water line? Is it this side? Okay. And this is the first time I heard about the sewer line coming through. And I've been thinking about this ever since I moved here, 1980. You know, usually they run a sewer line and they charge you so many dollars a foot on your frontage. And I got a long frontage from Lonely Road to Daniels Road. And I moved up here, there was probably half the traffic on Ridge Road. And they run that sewer line down Ridge Road or anywhere in this area. We're not going to be a rural community anymore. This, you look over in East Rock Hill, all the building they've done over there. I'm really upset about the, the sewage thing. You know, I understand the water we're not going to be required to hook into it, are we? Because, 4 years ago, I lost my well from the quarry, but they were great. They came and they, went down like 500 feet and haven't had a problem with it. So they were wonderful about that. But this whole water thing isn't strictly about the quarry taking all our water away. This was like sort of planned before. This was planned before the, well, I guess it's been going on for a while. I and some of my neighbors half a mile from here, we lost our water right before I got my well drilled, just before the shutdown in March. I finally got water on. We'd have to sit in the shower, turn on the cold water, get wet, turn it off just so we'd have enough water to take a shower. And it was a real pain in the ass because years ago we had horses and all kinds of stuff.
2.5
we used
minutes
a lot
are
of
up.
water. But like I said, the quarry did a good job. But I'm concerned about the sewer line that all of a sudden we're going to be like the rest of the areas.
Yeah, can we make something clear here? Thank you for your public comment.
Yeah.
But I do want to make something clear here, okay? Even though this is public comment and you can say whatever you want to. There is no sewer line that's proposed down that Ridge Road. Is that correct, Mr. Preston?
No, but
They're
if they're
proposing
gonna
a
put
water
sewer
line.
line,
Water line.
I understand it ends at county line, right? That's Montgomery County.
I don't know. Okay.
And then it runs on the other side of 309. And this whole area here, it's only rural because there's no sewers. Once we run sewers in here, I have 10 acres. I can start, I wanted to preserve my property, through the township preservation thing. But if if this is going to become suburbia, I may as well just start selling off half-acre lots. Once the sewer gets under 309, then let's stop it from, expanding.
We can't answer that. Thank you for your comment, though.
Thank you.
Okay, do you have any more public comment?
Debbie Rogers, 1307 Lawn Avenue. I want to thank the chief for looking at traffic on Lawn Avenue. Hopefully we can get it under control and less speeding. So I want to thank him.
Thank you.
One in the back.
So Joe Swinney, Holiday House Road. I just wanted to concur with Brian. I'm kind of surprised about the public comments because really you need to see the presentation before you actually comment to it. And we couldn't see that, right? And then the other comment would be about the open space. We raised our taxes years ago for open space, yet we're doing all this stuff. Do we really think about open space, protected land? I mean, maybe look into that if you could. And then I agree with the overlaying of the road. Last week, the lady who was here said the rates for water won't go up. Tonight, he said they will. Contradicting, okay? He did say that. He said they won't go up. We said, well,
But he
rates
didn't,
go up.
you didn't say they would go up, did you? I didn't hear him
They
say
won't
it.
go up as much. If we can get this deal with a lower interest rate, the rates won't go up as much. That's what he said. I don't know if I got that out of it, but just a comment. Okay. 309. The timing of this, right? We're going to do this in the winter months. 309 is absolutely rotten if it snows. We don't get a lot of snow, but when it snows, that's a nightmare. Okay. So timing concerns me. Okay. Road is going to be open after hours. Is it still one lane after hours? Is it going to be a section where it's still one lane? It'll be fully open. So they'll put plates back over the ditches. Is it probably? Okay. Okay. And then just wondering for the language in this thing, they mentioned 6 months. We know how bad that project was out here, all right? You mentioned it. I can't imagine they're gonna do this in 6 months. That was forever. And how many, wasn't even a mile, right? And they hit all kinds of rock. We live in Rock Hill Township. Hello, okay? I mean, I kid everybody. I can't put my
This is
shovel
public
in.
comment, but just to clarify something for you, they had to go 12 feet deep for the sewer line. This is a water line. He mentioned that they're only going 4 foot deep. Is that correct? Okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to make it clear of that.
Well, just to make this clear, should there be a contingency that if it takes longer than 6 months, there's some type of penalty or something back to us, okay? Because I see these projects take off. Again, the timing scares the heck out of me, the fact that a month before they need an approval from you guys, they are coming to you for this, even though they said 3 years ago it started, but now they're on D-Day. For some reason, this May 8th date has to do something. Why is it now all of a sudden has to do something? That scares me, all right?
2.5 minutes, right?
Okay. You know, but appreciate it. Well, 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Totally disagree that you voted on. Without our comment. Yep.
Okay, any other public comment? Looking to the back. Yep. That's all right.
Arthur Scherer, Augustine Road. Love my country. I believe in honesty. Now, is it 5 million, 5.4, 5.6? Honesty. I thought it was 5.4, your lady said last week, but okay. And the sewer coming underneath 309, I'm sure you'd be getting money for that. And possible future hookups. So I think you should just give these guys what they want. Repave the road. You're going to make money, no matter what. And this is our township. We love it. Every one of us. And these guys represent us. So I hope then that you would agree to that to get your grant. This grant's kind of free money for you, or really low interest. So my comment is just hopefully that you would do what they want for us and for them and just repave the whole road, because in the long run, you will make money. And that's the name of the game. But this is our game here. This is our home. So I think do that. That's all.
Okay, any other public comment? Yep. Mr. Bogner?
What's your address, Mr. Bogner?
Clymer Avenue,
Okay.
2920. Come over, have a beer anytime. My comment is, I share the same with you with the roads. My question is that, nobody follows the detours. And when they did the bridges, on the turnpike, Tyler Sport, they went through Dietz Mill Road and the trucks destroyed the road to the point that they had to post no truck traffic, no nothing. My concern is for you is that can we put something in place, because as a taxpayer, I'm not paying to fix the roads because of a detour, because of the water authority, or not water authority, North Wales Water. North Penn. That's their sister company. Sorry. I don't see that the taxpayers should have to pay to fix those roads. My other thought is that, in the wintertime is the worst time to do trench. And then you got steel plates on the road. You can't have that there for plowing. And then you have the issue of getting blacktop. You can't get blacktop. There's many times if it's too cold, you can't get blacktop. So that is the absolute worst time. And I wish that you could consider that project, if you are doing it, to do it not in the wintertime. Because you cannot, I seen somebody plow and hit a road plate and they went right into the hole. So that's all. That's all my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comments? Hands up. Going once, going twice. All right, We're closing public comment.
I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll second.
Go into executive session.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And North Penn is here if people want to talk.
Yeah, I think North Penn is here, but at some point you might want to talk with the neighbors. But as I usually say, we have a executive session, so you all have to be someplace else.
I think North.
No, obviously.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I yeah, what they were saying is that they're saying